Hey. This is the podcast. It's me and Hryv. We're podcasting. Isn't that crazy? We've started a podcast. Welcome to it. We're just going to sit here by the campfire. I'll put a campfire sound effect. You hear that? Wow. It's really going... Is there actually a, world...
There is a campfire sound in the world, but there's also music.
How do you...
It's like singing.
Yeah, it's like really...
Copyrighted music.
Yeah, that's really... Yeah. It's only 6 seconds. Whew. Turn that shit off right away.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you want to start over?
No. That's definitely... It's still usable. It's still salvageable. Hopefully we don't have to do that a lot and just...
Cool.
Every fucking 30 seconds just wonder if the footage is salvageable. Do we cut that out?
Oh no, this whole thing should be unsalvageable.
Yeah. No, that's usually how it goes when I record YouTube videos. Yeah, I've started like 7 channels, and every time I'm like, maybe after like 7 videos, they don't go anywhere, and I'm like, okay, well, and then you just wind up cutting out all the footage you've recorded, like 10 hours worth that you've sifted through and edited, and you're like, yeah, it's bad. I'm probably not a YouTuber, and then you just quit, and then you Twitch stream instead because it's much more random and crazy.
So that's probably what happened to this video.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So for context, Jax, why don't you tell people all the planning that went into this podcast?
So basically we were like, hey, I was like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? And Hryv was like everyone else and their best friend, and I was like, fuck, dude. And then we did it anyway because he was like, actually,
he asked me,
yeah. We just did it anyway.
He asked, do you want to do a podcast? I said, sure, and now we're here. That's the only planning we did.
Yeah. Basically, we procrastinated maybe like 2 weeks worth, just being like, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'm busy. And then it was like, well, are you busy today? And I was like, no, but like I also don't feel like it. So maybe we'll just push it to Sunday. And now it's Sunday, but it's almost Monday because we procrastinated more throughout the day. I actually almost didn't even say anything. I was like just sleeping most of the day. Then Hryv was like, pause champ or whatever emote you sent me. And I was like, oh shit. I guess we should do that thing that I myself brought up. Yeah, it turns out if you want to actually make content, you have to make you have to like do stuff. It's gross. It's horrible. Why would you ever want to do anything instead of just sleep and maybe pictures and stuff? Cut the video, dude. Let's go home, dude. Did you mute yourself? What happened?
Hello?
My
microphone randomly switched inputs and I just couldn't talk anymore. So I don't know how many things I said, you didn't hear them, but...
Wait. So I was saying stuff. Were you trying to interject into any of those things, or did you wait for that really long pause?
And you were just cutting me off all the time,
really?
And I just thought you were being super rude. Yeah.
and then like I fucking like set you up for something to say, and you were like, oh, I'm saying stuff, but you just didn't know you weren't saying stuff.
Yeah.
So I was listening to you.
Exactly.
But it was actually just a really long, awkward pause on my end. But to you were just like popping off, discussing some kind of topic that I just wasn't at all consuming from my end.
Right, and then I was like, I have an idea, and you're like, what were we talking about before? Well, I have an idea. Right, we were talking about Mario. But Jack, I have an idea. Listen.
No,
and then I looked at the little HUD thing and went, oh no, you just can't hear me.
Yeah. No, yeah. You were like staring at me for like a really long... Like, I can understand like an awkward pause. Like, that's comedy. But it was a really long pause. And I'm like, I say you have to talk about something. And normally knowing you probably would just have talked about it and not known what to say. But like, I was continually giving you time to think about what you wanted to say, maybe in case you didn't know what you were going to say. And then I was like, oh, he just probably
because I'm not a big fan of dead air. So like, the fact that I would intentionally add a lot of dead air in the beginning of our recording would probably not be me.
That was like a lot of dead air. That was like painful dead air.
Yeah, I laid out a whole thesis and everything.
Yeah, that was like, maybe I'll just pack it up and like just go home, man. Maybe it's time to quit. Just like
we'll
any
just
kind
fix
of
that
career.
in post.
Yeah, we'll just fix it in post. It's fine. Just fix it in post.
Or just start completely over from now.
Anyways, welcome to the podcast. Oh, what? Oh, continue.
Oh, well, you can redo an intro if you want.
No, fuck that. Everything is we're going with. Yeah.
Cool. So I had an idea, and then you didn't listen to it because you couldn't hear me.
No, that was just me. I actually
normally-
completely lied. I was listening to the entire time. In fact, me cutting you off now is exactly what I want to be doing.
So I mentioned the thing specifically about like what planning did we do to make this happen, which was you said, hey, we should do the thing, and I said okay, and then we did it. And well, I made a sarcastic remark about it first. See, now I'm just like paranoidly watching the little microphone icon to make sure it's still lit.
Oh yeah, I hate when that happens.
I
I just look out of the corner of my eye because it like lights up. Although some,
but it's not obvious.
Okay, well,
that it's
yeah,
lit
it's not
up
obvious
until you stop talking and wait for it to turn off.
Well, cause like, dude, like I think maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had that one party, I don't know, we throw a party every weekend, but it was one of the parties, and I was talking, and people were like, "Is Jax muted again? Like, is he not gonna talk? Is he drunk? Like, is he like mute now?" And I was like, "No, I'm literally saying," because I looked at the fucking thing in the corner, and I was like, damn it, how long have I been not talking for? And people were like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, that's not too bad, but god damn it, I said so much important stuff that was contributing to everyone's life, but nobody was consuming it.
And you're just like, maybe it wasn't the most important thing, but I still like spent mental energy like,
like I was
giving
thinking
you this
about
info,
it.
and just to realize that it was just lost in the aether is just like, ugh.
It's like that doesn't happen IRL, but like when your VR stuff just gives out and you just don't know, it's so sad.
Yeah.
So what was your idea?
So my idea was, it's sort of in a meta way, that like, what if this was episode 0 of the podcast? So this is the episode where we figured out what the podcast was about and what we we're gonna do for the podcast.
Oh, do we have like a topic or like an overall thing? Should
I
we
don't
have
know.
a thing?
Do
people do that?
Here's my intro for myself. Is I've almost never. I've listened to one podcast ever.
Yeah.
So I don't really like. I've mentioned before that I've never been a podcast person, and so episode 0 feels like, or at least one of the topics could be, Jax and Hryv figure out podcast ideas, or Jax
Episode
convinces
0.
Hryv that a podcast is a good idea.
Jax and Hryv try and figure out what they're doing because
Right, exactly.
we've never made a podcast before, or at least I haven't, or maybe I have, but not like I haven't like run one. So.
Well, like the only podcast I've ever listened to was very specific, is the thing. Like,
Wait, did you say Civic?
Specific.
Specific? Oh, okay. I heard
I don't
Civic,
think
and I was like,
Civic
can
is
you
a word.
educate me and our dearest guests what Civic? Because you do
What
that.
that word
and I'm like, I
means?
don't know. I just feel
That's true.
stupid.
So like the only podcast I ever listened to, which was actually like a radio show that was just played on the internet later. So if
Yeah.
it's a show from radio first and then is on the internet, is it a podcast?
Oh my god. Yeah, wait, is
It was
radio
like
just
specifically like
podcasts before their time? Oh my god.
kind of
Holy
like
shit.
because you had
Like a
radio
never-ending
shows,
podcast
like-
stream. Yeah.
Well, right. So that's where I think podcast comes from. The cast is from broadcast, I think, and the pod is from iPod, where it was like
Oh.
a radio. It was a radio show you could download and put on your iPod, so that like you could listen
Yeah.
to a broadcast whenever you wanted.
so
or something. I
surprised
don't know
that
if
like iPod, like how did iPod come to be a thing? Like who invented, like Apple invented that, right? iPod? But like what's a pod, like why is it pod?
Right.
And why did podcast become like an Apple derived word? It's weird.
I mean, people always make
Just like caught on, I guess.
like
App.
Wi-Fi is just they took hi-fi and
Yeah.
then thought,
Oh
what if we
my
had
God.
hi-fi but also wireless? Let's make
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. It doesn't stand for wireless fidelity. It doesn't stand for anything. They just took the word hi-fi and changed it to
And then everyone
Wi-Fi.
thought it was Wi-Fi. I remember when it came out, and everyone was like, Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi? What?
In some languages they do call it Wi-Fi.
Really? Oh, I'm gonna turn on the Wi-Fi.
I
I'm gonna hop on the
believe-
Wi-Fi. Sounds weird. You
I-
like say it like that.
At work, there were some coworkers from a different company, or from an acquisition who visited from Spain, like in the Castilian area, I think, and they said Wi-Fi instead of, like, all of them said Wi-Fi. So I think that in their area of Spain, you say Wi-Fi instead of Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Can't confirm. Spanish viewers, please.
Spanish viewer? Just like caught on, I guess.
So
Kind of weird how
yeah.
language works
So
like
I
that.
think for sure. But so the only podcast I ever listened to was like current events based, where a federal prosecutor talks about things that were happening in the United States government in ways that could be construed from a legal perspective. So it was like very much like when you tuned in, you knew the type of content you were getting.
Oh yeah.
Like, it had a very focused topic of like once every 2 weeks for an hour we talk about current events from the lens of a former federal prosecutor turned lawyer talking about the like very specific.
Are you talking about like radio or like a podcast? You're like saying all this like I don't know, law related stuff, and it's just like distracting me from what we're actually talking about. I'm like, prosecutors.
So the only podcast I ever listened to was a radio show that you could later download as a podcast.
Yeah.
Then that was the topic of it. So for the Jax Hryv Sit by the Fire show, like, in my head, I don't know what a podcast that's Seinfeldian, as it were. Like, it's not about anything. How does that...
Well, because we always...
A show about nothing, how does that work?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's... I don't know. Like, every podcast that I've, like, seen, it's always been, like... It's, like, people who, like, already have an established audience from something. Mm-hmm. Or it's, like, one person, it's, like, their podcast, and they have guests on. So it's, like, those are the only two that I've really ever consumed. And it's never been about, like...
Yeah.
Like, a topic, per se. But maybe that's just because that's the kind of content
right, so I feel like...
consume.
Right. Whereas I feel like a lot of the ones that I've seen are like, even though I think I listened to one episode of like me and some friends watch Star Wars, but we only watch it 10 seconds at a time, and we do a half-hour episode about each 10 seconds.
Wait, are you making that up? Is that real?
No, that's real. I don't remember. I think it was 10 seconds.
10 seconds?
Yeah.
Just like a star
So
speeder.
like, they watched the beginning of the opening crawl, and then talked about it for a half hour.
Holy shit! How do you do that?
Like, I don't know. Maybe it was every minute. Maybe it was minute by minute.
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't 10
like
seconds.
At least like a
still.
minute. Yeah. I know. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's like.
So maybe they got through the whole opening crawl.
You just really like expand upon a one tiny topic.
Well, I think
that's
it's
like
just
a talent.
A jumping off point.
Yeah.
Too. So maybe you don't spend the whole time talking about Star Wars, but it's like friends who get together to have a conversation.
Yeah, that's
at
like
the
a
beginning,
good starting point.
Yeah. So I think it's sort of. I feel like you can have something sort of Game Grumpsy like that, or any Let's Players really, but they were the ones that I watched a lot growing up, where like you're watching them do a Let's Play. You're watching them play Sonic 06 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you're watching them play.
Yeah, but they like constantly
Eminem's
just use it as
games.
they're just like talking about random shit, and then they something happens, and then they just like talk about that, and then it derives into some other kind of tangent.
Right. So sometimes you'll have a whole episode where they're playing like Wind Waker, and it's just like a 15-minute story about someone's life, and they don't even talk about the video game that's on screen. And sometimes they don't have anything interesting to say.
Cut the podcast. We'll just become Let's Players. We should just do that.
All right, that's cool. And you can stream it, and it'll be on Twitch.
Yeah, and we'll just do exactly what I've been doing for the past 2 years. Screw it. Why are we even here?
So I think that's just like sort of the stuff that I was thinking about before I came here. Was like, all right, if we're doing a podcast,
I didn't even think about that. Like having a topic.
Right, and we don't have to, of course.
Well, no, but like I just have a very like.
It was just a very meta way to think about like the essence of how podcasts work. Also, this is probably a video.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Where in my head, podcasts inherently are audio.
Yeah. Well, just because it's like a YouTube format, so it's like.
But then I'll watch a 20-minute video on YouTube that's about like, hey, this is how like we used to have half pennies and we don't have half pennies anymore. I don't know, I haven't watched that video, but that could be a video.
Half penny?
And like, technically it's a video.
I can never tell if you're making something up or it's real.
There really were half pennies.
Oh my god.
I made up the video, but the concept in the U.S. we used to have half pennies. Coins worth 2 cents. Coins worth 3 cents.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll watch these videos, but a lot of times the video itself is just like a conglomeration of stock footage, and really what I'm doing is just listening to the person talk to me for 20 minutes.
For sure. Yeah. On
and so
YouTube,
at that point, right. So
sorry, my head.
Is that a podcast?
You see this? My head's like jittering. It's like really annoying me. You see that? I don't know if it's showing up on your end.
No, not really.
I'm trying to fix it, but maybe I should just sit differently. Sorry,
I'm trying to pretend I'm not in VR and that this is just me for real.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm like trying to pay attention, but also like, I'm like, do I look pretty?
No,
oh my god, like I didn't do my makeup before the fucking podcast. What am I doing? How do I look? No, I'm just kidding.
Also, speaking of swearing, you swore within the first few minutes. You're gonna have to bleep
yeah,
those
I'm gonna have to bleep
YouTube,
those out. Yeah, the first 10 minutes, I believe, you have to bleep out the... I can't help it. I'm just so sweary.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing that charity stream, I was like, oh, don't swear, everyone. And I just was like, fuck. That's crazy.
But yeah, so like, I feel like those videos, I technically they're podcasts, even though they're not podcast. Like, they don't call themselves podcasts, but they're the same thing where it's like, I'm mostly just listening to people and there's only video on screen because it's YouTube, and if it wasn't on YouTube, it would be just audio. But because it's on YouTube, they have to throw up, like, when they say business person, they have to have someone sitting at the computer.
Like put the stock photo up. I'm not gonna do that. I'm too lazy, dude. I can't edit, dude. Instead. I mean, I can, but like, dude, I don't know. I get so bored in the editing room, the cutting floor. I'm like, oh man, this is a great edit, and then you post it, and you like, I don't know, it's just not worth it, man. I've been the thing is like, I'm really not to totally diverge from whatever you were talking about, but I've like watched like a lot of videos on YouTube where it's like editing, like how to keep people's interest, how to like fucking edit so that you maximize the interest here, and then it falls off, and then it gets really dramatic, and then you have the lull in the storm, and it's so dramatic, like you're so sad because the thing isn't happening, but then it starts to ramp back up, and oh my god, the music's really going, all the stock music is like crazy, and then it peaks. And you wait, and then the YouTuber makes a decision, and then, oh my god! Also, when you cut between this footage and that footage, make to overlay the audio. It's like stuff like that. It's like I find it really interesting, but when I start to do it, I'm like, beds, dude. I'm asleep.
It seems like when people make it look easy. When you see good content, most of the time you're just like, oh, this is good. I was watching a video yesterday, I think, where it was like, I couldn't figure out why. They knew how to make a video. Their microphone wasn't the best. That's fine though. But for whatever reason, like, even though they were doing all the right things and using the right stock footage and this, that, and the other thing, like it felt less professional than other channels. I'm not an editor at all, and just watching it, I was just thinking, why does this not feel as professional?
Why does it not feel right? And it can be something as subtle as like just like a sidelight or something. Pacing. Yeah, or a pacing. It's just something really subtle. Yeah. That you just don't think about normally.
Because like for this, they weren't even like they weren't even on like they didn't have a camera or anything. They were just telling a story about like the history of music or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why did this kind of music decline versus this type of music in this era? And they were telling the history of how things led up to certain points, and they had a hypothesis of why those things happened. And it could make for a really good video. And it was a decent video. Like, I'm not trying to say it wasn't a good video. It just like somehow felt like they hadn't figured out it yet. And I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But there was something to it where
that's
like it wasn't
that's the kind of stuff where
clicking.
Like that's like why people YouTube for like 3 years before they finally get their footing and then finally pop off. Like a lot of like I've seen a good few handful of videos where it's like big YouTubers who are like here's like what the key is, and they're just like, oh, like it's skill. It's not really that luck. It's just like doing the right things at the right time and like, taking opportunities when they show up and editing the right way and like stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought in the middle of it.
I'm of two minds to that, because I do think that like being skillful is useful, but at the same time, the world of social media and influencing and stuff is very luck based too.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
When you
The
have
algorithm
like
has to just happen
when
to
there
choose
are
your video.
10,000 VTubers, how do
Yeah.
you get you to be the VTuber people
Stream
care about?
VR chat. That's the secret.
Right.
Just because it's
It
niche,
actually really does
and
help
it
with the
actually has
viewership.
it just straight up has a monetary entrance exam that you have to have done, and that just takes away a lot of your competition, just flat out, and that's why people find VR chat streamers, because
Plus, I feel like people just go to the VR chat channel on
Yeah.
like they actually
it's, like,
look
niche.
at the category
Yeah.
and just find people.
because it's niche.
Yeah.
Whereas nobody's going to like Apex. Like I saw a video that was like somebody's like, here's why you're not going to pop off streaming Apex as like your first game or whatever. It's because if you go if you start from lowest to highest, it's 1 viewer, 1 viewer, 0 viewer, 0 viewer, 0 viewer, 1 viewer, 1 viewer
Right,
for like
for the first
like
300
ever,
people.
literally ever. Yeah, nobody's going to find you because if you're at 2 viewers, you actually just fuck yourself. It's so stupid.
Yeah. I remember, plus the way that the algorithm works, where if you're following somebody, then it
Yeah.
lists them by
Yeah, it lists
number
them-
of viewers, so you're less likely to watch the people you're less likely to view anyway.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very,
a whole other problem about Twitch.
the rich get richer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember before I made a Twitch account, I had you can edit out the part where my arm glitched.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I got you.
Before I had a
Just zoom
Twitch
in on it.
account. Before I had a Twitch account, I found this website that like you could watch streams that didn't have any viewers or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember I tuned into this guy. He was playing Tetris 99.
Mhm.
I think it came out in like mid 2020, I think. So I was watching some guy play that. But because I was there, even though I didn't have an account yet, it like lit up his viewer thing from 0 to 1.
Oh my god, let's go.
And so like he was interacting with me. Like
Yeah.
he saw that and he was like, "Oh, someone's watching.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
I hope you're enjoying
Holy-
yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just playing this game. I'm having a good time. I don't mind if no one's here, but it's really cool that you're sticking around, whoever you are. I can see you don't have
Oh
an
my
account,
God.
but that's cool.
Small
like,
streamers are
and
so
he-
nice. Sometimes they
I was
really try.
I was so heartwarmed because this guy was just like, and he got really close to winning. He's like, "Man, that was a close one. I hope you enjoyed that person who's watching out there." Like,
I've been
like, this
training my
game-
whole
I
life
haven't played
for this
Tetris.
moment.
he was like this guy in like he had like a man cave kind of thing, but like
Yeah. Wait, did he have a webcam?
like yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, I think he was like he like dabbled in video creation first, so he had like a pretty good camera setup, and he was in his like late 30s, early 40s or something like that, and like his house had kind of like I feel like it had like the 70s wood panel vibe to it. So it was just very like I don't know, it was just very wholesome of this dude just like chilling in his house by himself. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to play this game, and one of my friends said he might watch, so I'm gonna play it. And then he's like, "Oh, somebody else is watching, and it's not Steve."
That's like a good mentality to have though with your like
Mm-hmm.
streaming is to like not worry about like popping off, I guess, right away. Because you're not going to.
Yeah.
You're just not. Like
Mm-hmm.
it would be a miracle if you just suddenly jump to like
especially, like-
30 viewers right out the gate, or even like 5. Just doesn't happen.
Right, like you said, like if you're starting out playing Apex or like I don't know what the kids are playing these days. I was gonna say Roblox, but I don't think anyone
Bioshock?
does anyone stream Roblox?
People like that. I'm sure a ton of people are streaming Roblox right now. Everybody in the
that's probably true.
Dude, friggin' like games you can stream from your console. I didn't even realize it, but there's lots of games
true.
that have like Xbox and PlayStation and stuff like that. They just have like options to just stream whatever you're playing. And they, like I don't even know if it picks up your mic. It just streams it. It's just like your account, and you don't even see chat.
Really interesting.
It is really interesting. So I'm sure like those are just like saturating the streaming market with just people who are like, I'm gonna stream and it's cool, I'm doing it. But they're not like there. You know what I mean? Like I have a friend who would do like COD zombies, and he lived like with me in my apartment in college, and he would just stream from his console and be like, well, I'm streaming, go watch. But like I'm there, so I don't really have to. Like, but nobody's
Yeah.
gonna
turn
tune into
around.
it because it's just like he's not talking on the actual stream, and there's no
just
like webcam.
gameplay
Yeah,
video.
it's just pure gameplay. Yeah, I don't know like why it's like they programmed it into the consoles just as a novelty, but there's no real like way to make it like actually into a career console. It's just not plausible.
You could use it for like if you were running a tournament, you could have all of the streams up and then like
true,
multiplex them together.
Yeah, but that's
and
so
then use
specific.
That to make
like nobody
sure.
at their
and 99%
home
of the
is gonna just do that.
right. If you're just playing Roblox,
yeah. But like maybe if
I
we
saw
were
a
streaming, like,
statistic
friends
today
and stuff, but I don't know.
where apparently 50% of all American children play Roblox in some shape or form.
Really? Did you say 50%?
Like 50, like half.
Half of
Like
all
one out
children
of
are
every
playing
2
Roblox?
children.
Whoa. That's
Right.
like a grip on the market.
That is extraordinarily high.
Yeah. Well, what about Minecraft?
I
Do you know
didn't
about
click.
Minecraft?
I didn't click the link to like see more information about it, but I was just thinking, I'm like, that is
That's like a lot.
so right. And I mean, like, isn't it social? Like, I've never played it. Like, don't you?
I haven't
interact
played
with
it.
the
I've
people
never played
in
it.
Right.
It's
So,
like one of
I
those things
feel like
where like if I did play it, I might just like it, and that terrifies me.
right. That's scary.
I don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. But I've also never played Minecraft, so.
Yeah. Well, don't play it because you'll like it, and then you'll get like super addicted for like a week, and then you'll hate it, and you'll never play it again for like half a year, and then you'll be like, I want to play Minecraft again. It's like the opposite of a drug. you get like addicted, and you don't like you like it like drops off. You get tired of it, and then you're like, oh man, I'm feeling that addiction again. Like years later.
I never like knew anything because I only like growing up I didn't really know anyone who played it. I knew like one guy who played it.
Yeah.
But he started playing it. He was older than me, and he started playing it super early. Like he got it off of like an indie games forum where like Notch just uploaded this game. And he's like, hey, look, check out this game I made, guys. Do you think it's cool?
Oh my god, I love that. Like way back in like 2000,
So
and, like whenever it came out or before.
Right. So like yeah, like when I was much younger.
Yeah.
So he was my one friend who played Minecraft. But I didn't even find out until last year that people paid for Minecraft. Like I thought it was a free game.
Free to play game.
Just because that's
like
how he got it.
Yeah.
Because
But it
he
used to be
downloaded
free.
it so long ago.
Because it was like
Yeah.
debug builds.
So-
yeah.
Right. So I was like, wait, people pay like everyone's played this game and everyone's paid like $30 for it or whatever it
Yeah.
is. I didn't realize that. Sheesh. I mean, that's why Microsoft bought.
Yeah, Microsoft was like, this is amazing.
Mojang?
Yeah, they bought Mojang, which is Notch's company. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I never played it, and then earlier this year, some people tried to explain to me because I've never really watched much of it. Like I know, like little bits and pieces. Like I know that creepers exist and try to kill you. I know that I don't know why or when or how, but I mean nighttime all the
Yeah.
time. I don't know.
Oh my god, there's a creeper right there.
If there's people,
Oh my god. In the darkness.
there's definitely people out there who just want to punch me in the face right now. I realize, but or like I know like redstone exists and people make computers out of it.
Yeah, you can like program stuff.
but-
and gates.
I didn't know that. So like when you ask people, when everybody knows how Minecraft works except for you, and you ask them what Minecraft is, like how Minecraft works, they go, "You mine and you craft."
Yeah, it's
that
like
mean?
not at
Well,
all.
first you mine,
It's
then you
like
craft.
they're just knee-jerk reaction of how to explain Minecraft, and it's like not actually at all really like what goes on in the game. It's like maybe like 10%.
Like, why do you
not
craft? Why do you mine? Why do you mine to craft? Why do
Yeah.
you craft?
even to mine.
Because it's Minecraft. So is there a story? Yeah, but no one really plays it. What?
You get to the
Huh?
end. Doesn't make any sense.
So like, there's an end. Yeah, I was like, isn't there like an Ender dragon? Oh yeah, you can do the dragon, but you don't have to. Like, you don't have to beat the game.
Yeah.
No one really does it unless they like are.
Well, people
speedrunning
do
or
it,
something.
but
I mean,
when you're playing with friends, you basically have one OP friend who is like, okay, I'm gonna speedrun it, and then they just beat it in like 10 minutes, and you're like, so what now?
and
What's our purpose?
The thing that I didn't know for a long time was I thought that. So like you had like I'm gonna again. Sorry, Minecraft player. Again, sorry everyone because everyone's played Minecraft with me.
Yeah, everyone basically.
But like you have different materials. Like you have wood and you have diamond and you have other things in between those two, rocks and stones and etc. etc. And you can build things out of those. And I understood that, but I thought that it was like an unlock system, where like in the beginning you had access to the concept of wood. And then eventually, like, so you could just like you had unlimited wood that you could build with, and then
so you
you'd
didn't have to,
unlock
like-
stone later.
Yeah,
and
you
then
didn't have to,
had
like, get it.
unlimited stone.
Yeah.
Right, and then just like when these people were explaining, they were explaining. It was multiple people like trying to explain Minecraft to me for a half hour, and like a half hour in, they realized that I hadn't grokked the fact that
Like the
you had
rawest
to go
form
and
of the game.
acquire each
Yeah.
raw
Like
material.
you have to go into the ground.
build. I was like,
Get this, like, not even just get the stone, but get
one
the stone,
Yeah.
like, smelt the stone so it's usable, then, like, craft the stone into something else, use that to get the next thing. It's, like, really big. And plus, like, when Minecraft, like, first was a thing, I got so confused on the PC version. I played the Xbox version first, which had, like, guides. It'd be like, here's how you get this. Because it was, like, you know, kids, like whatever on the console. But the PC version is like the
Which is
rawest.
good.
Yeah, it's good. It was good. I had a good time. But on the PC version, it's like just blank squares. So you put the resources in, and there's
Right.
no explanation on how to get
The
things from
crafting
it.
table, I believe.
Yeah, the crafting table. It doesn't. There's no. Now it has it, but before there would be no explanation
Yeah.
on how to get anything. You just had to know or Google it. It was horrible.
And that's the other thing that when my one friend played it, like back in the day, he'd tell me about it. And I was like, so there's like a big tutorial because it seems like you can craft a lot of things. How do you know? Oh, like there's a wiki and then there's other Google pages. And you can ask other people. I'm like, so it doesn't just like come with a manual. No. You got to figure it out.
No, yeah, you have to just like
No, just
experiment.
tell
and
me.
just hope that you are gonna craft something from a random arrangement of resources.
Right, exactly. So like talking to these people, I didn't realize until like it finally clicked, like, oh, you need to acquire each of the material. Like you have to go down into the mines
Yup.
and individually get each piece of. So you are just giving yourself a job. Like it is a game where you
it's
play a
just
job.
Yeah, it's just a job game.
I was like, oh gosh, that sounds a lot more. So it's just a grind game at that point in my mind. Like,
Technically, yes. Which is funny because I actually really like mining, like more than crafting for some reason. I don't know. Like, I like getting this stuff and being like, I have a lot of stuff. The end. Because like actually building like a house.
I mean, also like
takes
the
forever.
caves and stuff look cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It just looks cool and
Right,
like fighting
exactly.
stuff. Like you can get like MLG fucking like you like I don't know. It's just really intense down there in the mines. But then like when you get back up to the surface and it's like okay, well you need like a lot of like grass from that acre over there that's like 100 miles away. Can you do that? It's like no, actually. I don't have the patience. I'm just gonna go mine more.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your
I
friend
was
has like a
enjoying the
gold house.
Tedium, not the directed tedium.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like every time I would play that game with people, I don't know how people are gonna like literally be like, "Oh, it's super easy" in comments, but like, I don't know how people just instantly get diamonds and just build like a house out of diamond in like 30 minutes. That's what it feels like to me. Where I'm like still like in the mines, like sweating away, trying to get one block of just coal so that I can make a fire. It's like horrible. I come back up to the surface. Everybody's like, "What are you doing down there?" It's like I'm getting like fire. And they're like, "We had fire like 10 hours ago."
We
Why
built
didn't you tell
a
me?
roller coaster.
Yeah, we built a roller coaster out of just raw fire. What?
Get in my diamond mine cart. We'll
Get
go
in
for
my
a 5-minute roller coaster ride.
I'm like, man, why am I even playing? Just have an existential Minecraft crisis. A mine crisis.
That'd be a good game.
It's like Time Crisis, but mining.
What if you mixed
patent pending.
Time Crisis and Minecraft?
Copyright. What'd you say?
What if you mixed Time Crisis and Minecraft?
Oh my god, it's genius. Cut that part out. Cut it out. Nobody can know. Cut it out.
We're building this game.
It's mine. Holy shit.
What
It
do you,
would probably
what
just
do you
be
make a sandbox game and a rail shooter?
Dude, somebody has done like... Wait, is Time Crisis a rail shooter? It's not. No way.
The arcade version is.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Somebody has done like a
I haven't
fourth
played the non-arcade
dimension
version.
Minecraft before, but it's not like time traveling. It's like the whole world like shifts because you're moving through the fourth dimension. I don't know. It's really confusing looking.
It's like a 4D chess game.
Yeah. Wait, what?
That
I feel like you've mentioned this to me
there's
before.
some game, or it's 5D chess, I think. I don't
Yeah,
know. There's like a
5D.
game.
That's what I remember you saying to me.
I don't know how it works, but it's chess with extra dimensions, and I can barely chess in the
How?
first place. So
Like more than two?
That-
Like there's already two. How like a 3D chess
Right,
would already be
there-
hard enough.
there,
What's 5D chess?
I think you play on multiple timelines, but you can also branch off the timelines to make new timelines or something. I watched a video on it once, but yeah, it seems like a lot of work. And if you get checkmate on any of the timelines, you win, I think. Or maybe the timeline collapses.
What?
I don't remember. It sounds crazy.
That is crazy.
And apparently, like,
I have a hard enough time with regular chess.
it's a very specialized bit of knowledge. So, like, chess, like, if you can't just like throw a chess master at it. They're not gonna. They're gonna
No,
look
it's
at it and
like
go.
well, they practice in two dimensions, like to be a perfectionist on 2 dimensions. You throw 3 more dimensions, they have 3 more dimensions to study.
Right, exactly.
That's like, yeah.
There's also quantum chess I saw
What the
a year or two ago,
What the
where like you can move a piece quantumly, so you move it into 2 different places at once, and then the state collapses later when someone tries to interact with the piece, so they find out where the piece actually was moved or something like that.
What? That
You
just
can't play it
sounds like,
IRL. It just has to be like in a game.
that just sounds like people trying to invent the next step of chess. Take it like one step further. But it's like
But it was that
Already.
one was very specifically like it had an advertising campaign. It wasn't just
Really?
like
the quantum
some
chess had
random-
an advertising campaign. Like I could like log into Twitter and it'd be like, "Quantum chess, play now."
like as in they made like a 15-minute trailer about it with Stephen Hawking was in it and I
Why?
think the guy who played Ant-Man, what's his name? Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd, yeah. Why? Wait,
I
why?
think they
Why?
hired Paul Rudd.
They hired
to-
Paul Rudd to be a part of
the
quantum
guy
chess.
in the campaign for, and they like did like a 15-minute short film about like Paul Rudd having to beat Stephen Hawking in quantum chess to save the world or something.
What?
I might be remembering some of these details wrong. It might have been a fever dream, but I'm pretty sure I'm not making this up.
That's like when I wake up the next morning after streaming and I'm like, "Did that really happen? Was that real?" Or somebody tells me something that happened.
I really feel like I'm making it up when I'm listening to myself
Yeah.
say it, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is a real thing.
No way. Oh my god. My god, dude.
There was a multi-time. I forget what they called it, but it was like it was a time travel real-time strategy game. So it was an RTS, but it was a RTS with time travel. So like,
That sounds cool.
If you
Anything
and I
with
were
time
playing
travel is probably
RTS.
really crazy.
right, I don't think it ever got popular, which was sad. But it was like if you made a move, like I didn't know what move you were gonna make, so I waited for you to make. I guessed what move you were gonna make and moved my troops or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I saw that you were flanking me and had figured out what I was gonna do. I could go back in time and change what I had done.
What? Oh my god.
But then you could see that I went back in time and changed what I'd done,
Yeah.
and also go back in time and change what you had done to
Is that like
react
a-
to my reactions.
if
to that.
you do that, does that erase the current state of the game? Because you're undoing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really wacky. So I'd have to play. I
And it
would
was
have to
ac-
play
it was
from wherever
actually
you restarted from.
Well, you would still be in the future. It would just be that the future was moving in waves, and if I was in the past, the waves would catch up to you.
Whoa.
So basically, instead of having it so that it was continuous, the future specifically came in waves, so that you couldn't have grandfather paradoxes. So, like, if I go
Yeah.
back in time and kill my own grandfather, that's a paradox because
Yeah.
I can't be born now if you assume that there's one timeline, and not multiverse theory, etc. But so what they would do in that case was, because you run into that all the time with something like that, is it moved in waves. So it would basically pulsate where there would be a wave where you were alive, and then that you went back in time and killed your grandfather. So then
Whoa.
the wave would come where you didn't exist, and then because you didn't exist, you didn't kill your grandfather, and so the next wave would come with you alive again. So by propagating in discrete
of
waves
timelines?
of past.
That's so confusing.
Yeah.
No wonder it didn't catch on. Nobody knows, understands it. Your basic average
But I
person's not
wish
gonna know
it
what's
did,
going
'cause
on.
It would be amazing watching that. Like, if
Yeah.
someone could do good
Well, that's
commentary
like those kind
on
of
it,
things where
or,
like it's really cool if like people could play it.
right.
Your
Because I mean,
average
like,
person.
people watch like League and all that kind of stuff, and as long as there's good commentary, or even if you just know how the game works, you just know how the game works. I don't, but like, it's stuff where like, oh, this person's moving here and they're attacking here, and this people, they don't know that they're coming at each other from these different angles, something. But if you could do that with something where you also had the time travel involved, like, oh, they made this move, but then they're going back in time to flank from the other side and trick them into thinking they're going that way, and actually they're going this way. It feels
How do you
like it would
win?
be.
How would you win?
I think you only have so much time juice or something like that. So like
Yeah.
you still win the same way you win in RTS by at some point in the timeline either someone surrenders or you
Oh, okay.
take all their bases or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But,
But like, why
you
couldn't
can
you just
also
undo?
that's
You know-
why you have I think you have a limited amount of time.
Okay,
juice
yeah,
or
yeah.
something,
That's
but
like
you can't
you would have
infinitely
to.
go back
There's
in time.
no way
forever.
that you could not have you could have an unlimited amount because you could just play forever then.
Right, just keep
go
going
back-
back to the very
Oh, man, I
beginning of
lost.
the game and starting over.
Not.
JK,
Joke's
we
on
started
you,
over.
JK. Haha, got you. Go back
It's
to the past.
literally that kid who hits the reset button
Yeah.
on the console when he's losing.
Rossetti's just like, what the fuck, dude? That's the 10th time, man.
love
Just
Mr.
lose the
Reset
game. Then you can start a new one. Nobody's having fun anymore, man. Quit the game.
You're such a
Sell your
sore
console.
loser.
Yeah, you're such a sore loser,
What's wrong
man.
with you?
Terrible sportsmanship. Why are you even here? Sign out.
Speaking
Delete
of
your
why are
account.
you even here? How long have we been podcasting?
So my OBS is not actually telling me. So I looked at my wrist when we first started, like a genius I am. We've actually been podcasting for maybe like 40, 50 minutes. It was
Okay,
a
cool.
decent amount of time.
I just want to
So
make sure that
think-
we don't accidentally talk for 4 hours.
Yeah,
'cause
no,
one wants to listen
no.
to us talk. For
I
4
like
hours.
maybe like 40 minutes from now, PM, AM, we can wrap it up. Yeah, for sure. That's like a solid, maybe
Sounds
like
good.
hour-ish amount of time, hour and a half-ish.
Mhm.
I wanted it to hit like
Yeah,
maybe like
'cause
an
it's-
hour, so I don't want to like go underneath. Like make sure it's definitely like a little bit over. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Especially like I feel like we're. I guess it's going back to the meta, but I feel like we're doing a pretty good. Like, I'm going to critique us and say we're doing a pretty good job continuously talking about stuff.
yeah, but the thing is also like, is the stuff we're talking
Um,
about like interesting? Like when you walk, like I've had this
Who
problem where
knows?
like
We'll find out.
I'll like record something for YouTube and I'll be like, that was really good. Like with the Portal stuff that I was like playing before, I was like, I'm gonna do this for YouTube. We're gonna stream it. Like a lot of YouTubers do. They just stream stuff and they edit it for YouTube later. And then I was editing it and I was like, I wouldn't watch this. Why am I editing something
Yeah,
I wouldn't watch? And I
exactly.
scrapped it because it's like, why?
That's why I feel like it's useful to have two people.
Yeah.
Where like at least you're not just listening to one person going, Portal's fun. I like Portal. Do you like Portal? And like when you're a Twitch streamer, you interact with chat. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have,
Like it's
you have a
different
thing
streaming.
where like where like when you're making video content, you can't interact with the people you're talking to.
Yeah.
So you just have to go, well, I'm playing Portal and Portal's fun. Today I had eggs for breakfast. Eggs are good, right? You
Yeah,
guys
but
like
yeah, you have
eggs?
to just
Like,
keep
comment, and subscribe if you
nonsensically
like
chatting,
eggs.
yeah. But like also you have to balance like the chat that's actually there watching live and like the future
Right.
viewership, you know? You have to do both.
And I think I mentioned that to you during that stream where I was just like, how are you going to Like no one, I don't know. It's definitely a hard. It's two different mediums. So to do both at the same time, I almost feel like with this, we're not streaming right now.
No, yeah.
And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is a different
Exclusive
type of interaction
YouTube
where I don't have to
content
go.
where we're not
oh,
worried
hey,
about chat. Yeah, yeah. Not to totally
Hey
just.
Stevie J420, thanks
Yeah,
for following.
thanks, yeah.
Hey, thanks for your
Hey,
subscription. You're cool.
Hope you have a good sleep tonight. Thanks for following. Thanks for that sub. You know, like it just completely takes away from.
Welcome to the Cool Kids Club. Enjoy your stay. Take off your shoes and your jacket and grab a coffee because
Man,
we're
if
going to
you
drink
insist.
coffee together because this is the Coffee Cool Kids Club.
Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody. Like,
Yeah. Now we're just like
I mean, that's how
focused
that's I'm not trying to.
on you, whoever
I'm
you
not trying
are.
to say that's a bad thing. Like it's good to have like your branding with that kind of stuff when you're doing a live stream. But for something like this, it sounds weird. You have to like edit that stuff out, or else it just sounds weird to
Yeah.
the people who are watching. If they
Yeah.
hear you say
No
your
video
weird-
is timeless
your
when you're
little catchphrase 10
thanking
times.
when you're thanking some random guy every time you watch the video.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, I think it's really hard to make content for both at the same time.
Mhm. Well, the thing is,
Unless
I think,
you're really doing like a long play and a highlights video or something.
yeah. Well, you need to. Like, I noticed that like a lot of YouTubers who they like do both YouTube and Twitch streaming. Either they just like they'll have like a topic. So they'll be like, okay, I'm streaming, but here's the topic of like what I'm gonna do, and then they'll edit that topic down into a YouTube video that's however long. But like they're talking about the topic. It's not just like they're just like randomly playing a game and thinking of things to say that it would be interesting or whatever. That's like something I realized in hindsight after like recording all that stuff was like, oh, maybe I'm kind of just thinking about this the wrong way. But yeah, or like
'Cause
they'll just won't have
I
chat on
do-
screen at all, and they'll just completely just record for YouTube, completely ignoring chat, which I can't do. Like I'm not big enough. It's just weird. Like I'm not gonna ignore chat. So
I mean, there's a couple people. I'm trying to like name drop specific people, but like there's a couple people I watch on Twitch where they're streamers, or they're streaming, but then they make like a highlight video of what they did in the stream. So they're not keeping in all the chat interaction necessarily, or very rarely they'll show like a message on screen to respond if they responded to it directly and it was funny.
Yeah.
But usually they're sort of like people who either are very skilled. It's actually a combination. Usually they're very skilled at the game that they're playing, and they're also funny.
yeah,
So like
couldn't be me. Not me.
they're well, like with like something like VR chat, it doesn't really work like that. Where like you can't be good at VR chat. So you can watch them. You can watch the person play their game, and you're like, wow, their gameplay is great. And then also like they'll be responding to something in chat, or like if it's a multiplayer game, they'll react to something in an over like, whoa, that was crazy. Wow. Like yell and scream, or they'll play with their friends, and then like their friends and them will bounce like jokes off of each other while they're playing. So like you can do it with content from just streaming, like, but you have to, I think usually then you have to do a lot of editing to turn like a 6-hour stream into
Basically,
like a 15-20 minute video.
Yeah.
And you have to have like the right type of content, and if you're surrounding yourself with people, the right kind of people where like you say something funny and then they say something funny, and well, hey, we're having fun.
Well, I love it. That was so crazy. Let's edit that.
So there
Just, like,
is
clip after
content
clip.
like that I watch occasionally, but it's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah,
it's a skill.
A
It's
lot
not
of my streaming I've noticed is just like bouncing off of chat, which is just not good YouTube content.
yeah, because you basically do like your VR. Well, a lot of VR chat is just chatting streams.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like VR chat is just chatting, but you don't have a webcam. You have a very fancy motion capture webcam.
Yeah. It's like really, yeah, it's something else for sure.
Because I think it's similar to like when we were talking about like the Let's Plays. Like if you're doing a Let's Play and you're not saying anything, that's probably not good. But at least like the viewer has the game to look at. And the same with streaming, where like if I'm watching someone play a game, they can get really pulled into the game for like 5 minutes.
That's like why like a lot of people
And
like
that's
you
fine.
like just won't stream VR chat because it's just like, what would I do? What am I
Right.
doing?
I have no problem. I watch a lot of VR chat streamers, but for me, I don't. Especially as someone who, on Twitch, I don't have a big viewership. Like, and that's totally fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for that. But I'll play a game. I've had time, like I'll playing a game and I'll be talking, but no one will talk and chat for an hour, and that's totally fine with me. The reason I stream is because it's like, hey, if my friends want to stop by and see me playing a game, cool, I'll say hi to them and we can have a conversation. If they don't, and I'm just playing the game, I was gonna play the game anyway. I might as well share it with people.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. That's the good mentality to have.
But with VR chat, like, I don't know, that's
It just
like
it just
with the
hits
game
different.
again. It's like I could be talking to chat, and then when I'm not talking to chat,
What do I do?
like
yeah.
I'm playing the game or something. But here, yeah, like if I'm in VR chat, if you weren't here, and I was just like looking at the camera and standing and like sitting here in silence and staring at it, waiting for someone to interact with,
Yeah.
that's weird. If I'm just telling a monologue, soliloquy, whatever word I'm looking for here, for an hour, just talking to myself, that's pretty weird.
Yeah. He's just like giving
it's
like a
that's what
villain
people do.
monologue, just like, so I woke up in the morning, and you just keep going. And nobody's saying anything.
But I know people who are really good with that kind of thing, actually, where like they'll have like 1 or 2 people active in chat who are only saying things every like 3 or 4 minutes, and they'll be able to turn that into legitimate content where like someone will say like, oh, have you seen this episode of this show? Like, no, I haven't watched that show
helps.
yet, but I'd like to. I heard really good stuff about the
Yeah.
show, and I can tell you this about the show, and there's this other show that like being able to
Having
take
that like starting point.
a lower amount of interaction
Is, like,
and
all it
yeah,
takes, yeah.
and turn that into smaller monologues is super useful.
Or, like
but
thinking. Of
I don't think
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and like you can't. There's no gameplay.
That-
So I mean, there is, like, but it's like what
Right,
you can
exactly.
do, like world hop. Like, what if the worlds are bad?
Right.
And you just are bored. You can't go to Publix because Publix
Right,
is just like
exactly.
you just like you die. You're dead. You're dead, kid.
And usually when I world hop, like I'm not going, oh, look at this. This is pretty. La la la. Like I'm just like I'll just jump from
Yeah,
I'll do
you're just like,
20
oh,
worlds like real quick.
That's a world.
Like, oh, cool. All right, next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I can
'Cause
see
most of them are
content
just
here.
like I uploaded
Yeah. It's
preset
like,
world number 7.
I uploaded Unity Asset 5. Do you like it? I put my image here.
Yeah.
You're like, so be it.
I uploaded the same world with the 02 in neon on the wall, but the computer desktop is a picture of
Yeah.
my Discord
And
server.
like every once in a while, you'll come across like some crazy high definition world with like all this intense programming, and you're like, oh my god, that's crazy. But it's like 1 in a million, and then you're just done after
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
experienced it. And it's like maybe like 30 minutes worth, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm done.
So it's either that or like people. The other main thing people do is like I'm gonna hang out with my friends and then have a camera on,
Yeah.
and that works for a lot of people. But for me, I'd rather have something that I felt like was more unique than that.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know,
an
and
original.
I'm not trying to fault anyone who does that.
Not just
because
like-
I watch people who do that.
Yeah, but like not just like me hanging out, doing just the usual. Would you like to be here too? I mean, I guess it is kind of like streaming any other game, but like any other game is still like it's like a thing like that you've like is happening, you know?
Right. It's,
you're there for
it's
that.
sort of like it's the equivalent of like putting a camera, like taking your phone out and putting a camera on while you're sitting with friends at a coffee shop,
Yeah.
and then like people are allowed to jump in and go, "Hey, can you say this word?"
It's like,
and you're like, "Who are you?
yeah.
What?"
It's like I'm
Why
not
are
really
you
trying to entertain
interacting
per
with
se.
my
Yeah.
Right, I don't want to be like, hey friends, come and be co-stars with me
Oh,
and
yeah,
be
yeah.
entertaining
Forcing
in our
them.
conversation.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Next
mean-
time I'm just streaming in a random world. I'm just joking. Just joking.
Yeah, I mean, granted, that's what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
but like we're both like willing participants.
Yeah, we
where
signed
we're
up.
like, hey,
We signed up to podcast. We know what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
where sometimes you just want to sit with your friends and have a conversation and not be performing. You don't
Yeah.
want to be wearing a mask all the time. Mask pun intended.
Dude, speaking
So
of
like the one time I streamed VR chat was because I was doing
did
the
you?
roller
Oh,
coaster
the roller coaster
world,
thing,
and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
well, that's like a
yeah.
game.
So I thought that
like a
that
game
was
within a
actually
game.
content, where it was
Yeah.
like I was playing a game. I was building a roller coaster, and then like
Damn, it's comfy.
showing my process of building it and interacting with people while I was doing it. But even if you didn't care about what I was saying, you could still be watching me build a roller coaster, and that could be interesting. And I had some people come by, and we had conversations, and it was fun. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I sent you the roller coaster, and you never rode it. I understand, though. It's fine.
Wait, did I really not? I thought I did. Anyway,
Don't
no shot.
think so.
I thought I was like I streamed it and then I loaded it or something and then I did it.
I think you tried my first one, and then I made a second one, and you didn't ride that one or something.
Maybe not the
But
second
I
one.
tried-
Yeah,
I
that's
rode
way
yours.
too much. Whew, that's way too much stuff for me to be.
I want to make
doing.
another roller coaster now.
Okay, let's go do
I like
that.
that world.
Goodbye. Podcast is over. See you
All right.
guys. That's it. We're gonna make some roller
Podcast
coasters
now, roller
Yeah,
coaster
we're-
building stream.
Let's go.
Like Jax and Hryv build roller coasters.
Woo!
movie
Yeah, cut it.
being the
Just be the
podcast.
next episode. We build a roller coaster. Yay!
It's not two-player though. It's like one of us builds a roller coaster and the other one watches while we talk. The game, the movie, the podcast.
You said something earlier that made me think of something. In a recent stream, I think the last one, I spawned into, I believe, I'm not gonna say the specifics, but I spawned into like a party world or like a not a party world, but like a like a vent. I spawned into an event, and I was streaming,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that I was just like saying all this stuff like out loud in the lobby, and the person who was hosting the event was like, you streaming? Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm not like trying to interfere with the event or anything. Like I'm just listening to my own music. But I wasn't thinking about like why I'm there or anything. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not trying to like be a problem. I can go. And they're like, oh man, like imagine hosting an event and just streamers just spawn in and then just listen to their own music. And I was like, oh. Like, how do you feel about like streamers just like? But I guess VR chat is very moderated. You know what I mean? Where like you don't know what you're doing sometimes. Like I'm not trying to like not promote your event. Like I like they came in chat and they're like, oh, this is like the event. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. You can totally self promote because I'm in your event. Like this is your venue. But it was like just like a weird interaction that like just kind of made me uncomfortable. How do you like isn't it kind of weird that like I don't know, VR chat is so.
Well,
it's like anarchy.
It's similar to like when Google Glass came out. No one had it.
Yeah.
But the idea of
the idea of it
just like
is just like weird.
right, where just like what if someone walked up to your table at a party and had a video camera on their face? Like, hey guys, what's going on?
But like people
And
can
you're
do that
like,
with their phone. But like it's more obvious, I guess,
Right.
because they're holding their phone up to you, so you know you're being recorded, and you know that you can act a certain way. That's like not. You just know it's happening. But if it's like on their eyeballs,
But then imagine.
you just don't know what's happening, which is like what streamers do. I'm completely at fault for that, for recording people when they don't know, because I'm just streaming and I just spawn into random lobbies.
But imagine doing that even with your phone out, like, because there are people who have their camera up when they're streaming, obviously. But imagine like walking up to a table in a bar with your phone out, going, "Hey guys, what's going on? Hey, how are you?" Like,
Yeah.
you'd be like, "Who is this creep?
Who is
with
this guy?
Who's videotaping me and like walking up to
Why are
random
you doing
table?
that?
Like,
Yeah, what's this
are we
for?
on-
Yeah, like how many like
Are
do you
we
have
on
viewers?
some
Is this
TV
live?
show?
What are you recording? Like, yeah, you don't know anything.
Oh yeah, I'm live streaming. To who?
To who?
To 6 people. Who are
Who?
they?
Yeah, it's like
I don't
the
know.
questions just keep going. Why? Why are you here?
Why would you do that?
Why can't
It's
believe you've
very
done this?
strange.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some people have like a modicum of backlash to it. Is just like, why are you? What? Just let me chill. Like,
Yeah.
even if no one's watching, I'd rather you not like.
Yeah.
I was saying this to someone a couple days ago with just like even with like Discord. Like I was talking about a conversation we'd had earlier, and I was like, oh, it went like this. And then like I remember having this feeling because you said something like this, and then they went back a month and a half in Discord and like found the thing that I had said and said, no, actually you said it this way. And it
Yeah.
was not in a mean way and not
Yeah.
in a, and if you, the person who I was talking to, is watching, you know I'm not trying to like throw you under the bus in this way in any way. But I said back to them, I was like, I liked when conversations were evanescent, where like you
Yeah.
had
I was
a
thinking about that the other day.
conversation,
And it's just
and then it goes away.
Yeah, it goes away.
Like,
yeah. Like everything in Discord is documented. It just stays there forever. Things you said like a decade ago are still there. You know what I mean? How long has Discord even existed? But it's like, like 2 years ago. It's still there, and people can refer to that. But people change too. You can't hold people to the exact same standard you were held against them like 2 years ago, because they've just changed, and their opinions changed too.
In 2017, you said this about Steve, so you must now that you said that Steve was kind of cool and not cool, you must hate Steve now. No.
What do you mean? I don't know what I was saying.
I have said hundreds of thousands of things in Discord at this point. I'm sure if you wanted to go back and find something.
Like, you could be angry, you could be sad, you could be drunk, you could be like, I don't know, just like recovering from like getting your wisdom teeth removed, and you're just like delirious. I don't know, nobody even knows. There's no context or tone of voice to text. So like, you just read it however you want. You can make it negative, you can make it positive. Like whenever I'm talking to friends or whatever, and they send something to me in like Discord that sounds like it could be negative, I try and read it in the positivest light that I can, which is not a word, because like there's no tone of voice. you don't know.
Exactly.
And like when I was dating my ex, we used to, like, when we first started dating, we would always get into arguments when texting, but in person it'd be fine. And when we texted, it'd be like, why the are you saying it like that? What do you mean by this? And it would just be like the tone of voice was just totally wrong. We were just reading it. We just kept interpreting our sentences totally wrong. That's like one thing that's weird about text communication.
What do you mean okay?
Yeah, what do you mean okay?
Is that how you feel?
Like, yeah, it's like they're just rushing or something. They're like trying to get on the bus, and they just send okay, and you're like, why'd you send me a lowercase okay? What does that mean?
Dare she?
How dare? What's wrong with you? And they're like, what do you mean? I was just confirming our interaction. What the heck, man?
What do you mean? So you're not even listening to me anymore?
Yeah. What the heck? What gives? Like, I was like saying all this important stuff.
I'm raising my own blood pressure by saying
I know, yeah. I'm like, I'm just getting PTSD just thinking about this stuff. Yeah, it's too real. Whew. But then there's Snapchat too, where it's like stuff actually is fleeting. And that's kind of weird. Because the people, you can say like really monka stuff, and it's like, that was definitely there. Like, I don't know. The documentation is kind of nice. But it'd be nice if you could like say like tone of voice mad, tone of voice sad, just like attribute it or something. I don't know. I want like a middle ground that doesn't exist.
For all the people I talk to on Snapchat, I have it set for save for 24 hours.
Oh, that's kind of smart. Yeah.
So that way, like the messages aren't there forever, but we can have a conversation without like, because
it's disappearing like the next second.
I'll have a conversation, and then I'll get busy for 20 minutes, and they'll come back and they'll say, "Well, what do you think about that?" And I'm like,
"Yeah, I don't know what
we were talking about.
I don't even know what feature you're talking about where you can like don't even tell me because I don't use Snapchat, but still, it's like it's just
there's
weird.
There's a chat settings you can do 24 hour instead of immediate delete. That, or you can set it to immediately delete, never delete, or 24 hour. I think.
Wow.
And so it's nice to be, because like I could have a conversation IRL, or I could have a conversation like this. I could look at the moon over there for a second, then look back and you go, what were we talking about? I feel like I just said like 5 sentences. What were they? And you're like, I wasn't listening. And then the words weren't meant for me. The words were meant for you, so I wasn't listening to me either.
Yeah. So I guess we just move on then? The end? Just gets lost.
I've had it where it's just like I'll be deep into a conversation and then both of us will just zone out, and it's like, oh.
That happens to me whenever I open
my
browser on my phone, because it'll show me like articles right on the home, like when you open the browser and have sort of new page. So I'll be like, I'm gonna Google something, right? I open this and I'm like, oh my god, that article looks really interesting. I'll click it and I'll completely forget I was gonna Google, and I'm like, that was a really interesting article, but now I don't know what I was gonna learn that I wanted to know. Like, it's so easily distracted.
Like, I'll get on my computer. Like, I'm gonna go do something productive, do X, Y, and Z. Then I'll go and I have a message on Discord though. Oh, let me open this website real quick and look up. Oh, let me open this game real quick.
He's going to like a deep rabbit hole.
Oh, it's 4 a.m.
Oh my god! Like, I should have slept. Whoops.
Or it's like I came on here specifically to do something productive, and then I watched a video on the history of Vatican City, which they'll never need any of that information of, the train in Vatican City used to have passengers on it, but now it's mostly used for freight. That's
intense stuff, man.
That's a real video I watched yesterday.
Yeah. Wait, the Vatican City thing? Wait, what were you saying?
Yeah. Yeah, the Vatican City thing I was saying was actually a real thing where they were describing all the different buildings in the city.
Is that something you like
The
looked
city
up, or did
planning
it
of
like
it.
homepage recommend that to you, or was that subscriptions? Like, I'm interested because like sometimes
I don't
I'll
know.
like. Sorry, wait, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I don't have a YouTube account, weirdly.
Oh, okay, so it's like just recommended, or you like, yeah, you just see it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Like that stuff is so the homepage recommendations are so crazy, because I'll see them and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting, I'll watch it. But then you like log out and log in a different account or whatever. Like I have different like accounts for different things. Like, and I'll see it again, and I'm like, this is just recommended to everyone. I'm just a sheep. Everyone's watching this.
So that's the thing. What I usually do is I have certain things that I watch where like I'm seeking them out, like people who create content like people who if I had an account I'd be subscribed to. But because I don't use an account, what ends up happening is like each time I tend to browse in incognito as well.
Yeah.
So what happens is that, or private mode or whatever your browser calls it. So what'll happen is I will have different bubbles that I end up in each time. So like sometimes I'll end up in like the Mario Maker bubble. There's a lot of videos about Mario Maker.
It'll just
or
like
other
wait,
times
so
I'll
you
end
get
up in the
a
city
totally
planning
fresh
bubble.
start every time you log in.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
So like in this current session right now, I'm getting a lot of urban exploration and city planning videos.
YouTube's
but
like,
then
we
other
know
times
you,
it'll just be
we know
video
you, and you're
game
like, no,
stuff.
you don't.
Yeah. Well, you know part of me, and this is interesting, and I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. But next week, it might be all video game history or something like that. Like, I have a lot of interests and different parts of. I take week-long trips into a rabbit hole or day-long trips into a rabbit hole, and then. Also, I have two different web browsers that I use usually at the same time, and often I'll listen to music in one and watch videos in the other. So one's telling me music I'm gonna like, and other one's telling me
Yeah.
video content I'm
Oh
gonna
my
like.
God,
So
that's
I'm in
actually
two different
kind of
bubbles at the
that's
same
like a
time,
little
but they're
smart,
separate.
actually. Now I think about it, because it's like
Thank
very
you. I do my
specific.
best.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm saying you're smart. You're welcome. It's it's very like it's targeted, like it's specific.
Podcast successful.
Yeah, well, because sometimes like I'll want to like just see music recommendations, but it's like suddenly like a tutorial on game dev will start playing, and I'll be like, this isn't
Right.
what I wanted. Well, it is, but not in
Right,
this
because
current session, you know?
And it would be cool. Hey, YouTube, here's a feature for you. If you could split that up, like
Yeah.
you could say, hey, I only want to be in the Unity bubble right now, where I want to
like, does it really-
learn more about cool things I can do in Unity.
I guess it's kind of interesting. Like, does it know what you're like, what it's recommending, or is it just recommending it based on what other people have chosen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does the computer know, or is it just think it knows what it knows? I guess it's like a very programmery kind of question.
It's the mix between programming and like philosophical,
Yeah.
because you're basically asking, can computers
does it
think
know
at the same time?
Because
too?
it doesn't know it's a Unity video, like by tags, I guess. It doesn't have to be like sentient, but
Yeah.
like,
So what?
like if I
what-
edited a
what if you
Unity
notice-
video,
I don't know.
is it gonna be in the Unity bundle if I don't like if I don't have like Unity in the title, if it's just like game dev, but it has Unity like in the thumbnail or something?
Well, I think what happened, like, I think on the front page currently, sometimes what it'll do is it'll actually list topics it thinks you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you look at the front page, and I don't think it always does this, but I've had it before where it'll be like sports, roller coasters, history, jurisprudence, and you're like, you've been stalking me. I mean, I know that's your job, but like, it'll give you like, click these different tags, and we'll give you, it'll tell you the bubbles you're in, basically.
Yeah.
I've never clicked one of them. Maybe I have, but
I kinda
so
wanna
I think
do
it
that
does
now.
have an idea
Like just
by
name
clustering.
incognito
Right,
tab.
you should try it.
Yeah.
Not right now, obviously.
Not right now, yeah, but
Um,
just kidding. Goodbye.
but it'll.
I'm just kidding. I'm just-
I think it has, because it's clustering the video, like looking for videos related to videos you like, or really, That's not quite what it's doing. It's trying to find videos that it finds engaging so that it can keep you on the platform longer.
Yeah,
is what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't care if you like them or
It
not.
doesn't really-
it just cares
yeah.
about engagement.
It just wants you to watch videos, which is it's very successful at.
Oh, for sure.
It's horrible.
As someone who watches way too much YouTube.
Yeah, I'll be like, I gotta just close my phone, man, and get out of bed. Like I could just stay here forever.
I'm actually, this week in particular, I'm really considering just like trying to like write up a life schedule and like not, or like have a scheduled time to watch YouTube and Twitch and
Oh,
just
yeah.
like kind of shut off a little bit just so I can get I have some stuff I really need to get done. And it's just like I
Yeah.
kind of want to like de-digitize for a minute, cut myself off from that immediate serotonin or whatever it is, and like
well, because it like
turn
feels
off
like
that
you're.
drip of.
It feels like you're like I don't know, like, yeah, I guess it's serotonin. Like feels like you're learning or like having fun. But then
Right.
like once it's over,
And
you're like,
it's just one video. You're not.
what do I feel now? Have I done something?
I feel like I should watch the next video. It's recommended. It looks
Yeah.
good.
Ooh, it looks good. Yeah, that Lego video where they're building a crazy long
Yeah.
chain around like the world. I should watch that.
Yeah.
But
It's
do I
only
really
one
have
video?
to?
I can do work. I can do stuff after that.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like 30 minutes long. You're like, oh, well, I guess I'm settled in. Whoops.
but then that video ends, and you're like, all right, now. Oh, actually, though, this video of the history of this one-hit wonder song I've heard before. That'd be really cool to hear,
Yeah.
like the history of that band. I guess that's only 12 minutes. I'll watch that real quick.
Yep. And suddenly it's 4 a.m. Once again, pee smoke.
Oh.
Once again,
Yeah.
feels bad.
Now it's 3. Yeah, now it's 4 in the morning, and I'm watching a video about bike lanes in Amsterdam. What?
Actually happened, by the way. Can't confirm. It's a real thing, not made up.
Do enjoy those videos.
I was
Um,
actually really intrigued, even though I fell asleep when you showed it to me.
I feel like that is my stereotypical like the Harvey genre of video is this is really interesting, but I'm also probably gonna fall asleep halfway through.
It's like, I want to stay awake really bad,
We're-
but I can't.
Well, because I'm always the ones I'm showing you are I'm always sending to you when it's like 3 a.m.
Yep. Every time.
and it's like educational but also comfy.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not like I'm gonna teach you calculus. It's more like I'm gonna tell you about like how you can compare like that one, like how you can compare the way that city planning is done in the U.S. to other countries, and how
And it's
here
like
we're more car dependent, but there's other ways to do it.
just
And you're like, that's kinda
interesting
cool.
enough.
I never
Yeah,
thought
you're
of it
like,
that way.
wow, I'm learning. Then you wake up like 5 hours later and you're like, oh my god, something completely random's playing.
And you're like, wait, did I learn? I think I was starting to learn, and then I fell asleep instead.
Your brain's just like, stop, we're done for the day. Stop. Need to do the
Too late
whole
for learning.
RAM reset. Please stop putting information in me. Feels bad.
Yeah, so that's a lot of the content that I ingest is that kind of thing where it's like I'm going to learn about something that's never ever going to be useful, but I'll listen to someone talk about it for a half hour because it's interesting to listen to someone talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like that's like mostly my YouTube experience. It's just like interesting. Like I just feel like I'm just like learning. And then once I'm done, I'm like, am I gonna apply this learning that I've just done? No, probably
No.
not.
Never.
That video about that polyglot that like, you know, I literally just watched a video about a polyglot who like learned Norwegian in like 2 weeks, and it was so cool. And they did an interview in like straight up Norway or whatever on TV
I
with
think it was Icelandic.
yeah. Really? Okay. Maybe we watched the same video. I don't know. It probably just got recommended to everyone. And like it was so cool. And then afterward I'm like, did I really have to watch it though? How do I feel? Like
I have thoughts about that guy that I'll tell you later.
okay, sure. Tell me now. Why not now?
There was I think I saw the same video, but I like watched it like in school or something.
In school.
It was one of those days where like a teacher didn't want to teach, so we watched a video instead.
Was it not a recent video? I thought it was.
There was a video about who I think is the same guy.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Like everyone, like half of YouTube is I watched a video from 10 years ago and then made a video about the same
a modern
topic.
video. Yeah.
I watched
All
an
content is just
old
recycled.
Discovery Channel documentary and turned it into 5 10-minute YouTube videos that I made up myself with
Yup.
stock footage.
Yep.
So I watched a video about something like that, with that same scenario of like, I'm going to teach myself Icelandic in 2 weeks, and then I'm going to go on TV and be able to say catchy things to people about it. Like, they'll ask me a question like, well, how does it feel speaking Icelandic? And I'll say, well, I think Icelandic's a really beautiful language, but I can't quite get all the thoughts I want out to get out yet, so I kind of feel like I'm asthmatic in the language. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he knows the word asthmatic. That's really cool. I think that was a quote from the interview. But then for that particular guy, I remember I was reading a book, and then it turned out that like the guy took a chapter in his book to like specifically say, by the way, that guy says he's just magically good at languages, but actually he's really just good at memorizing things because he used to sell books on how to memorize things really quickly.
Wait, what?
So
Wait, what?
like, he specifically, like, the book that I was reading for no reason went on a tangent and did like a chapter-long teardown of that specific guy I'd watched in that specific documentary. And it was just like, cool, thanks for letting me know, actually, because I would have never known. That's so specific and actually applied to me, and okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, I guess.
Dude, I wish I was good at memorizing. I don't even know if that's completely off topic, but I like, man, that shit is difficult. I don't know. Like
Well, there's
I have to, I
there are
have to get like
techniques
muscle
that
memory.
you can use.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, yeah, but like maybe after like a month, I'll memorize like a word, for example.
Well, there's
And I
so
have patience.
There's this thing. There's these the World Memory Championships
Are you
where
serious?
people so there's actually
Sounds
memory
so horrible.
competitions.
Oh my god, I can only imagine. I would fail
So what
instantly.
they'll do is like they'll give you like one like so like there's a bunch of different like rounds in it. So one of the things they'll do is they'll give you a deck of cards randomly shuffled,
Yeah. Oh god.
and then you have to memorize the
Oh, God.
entire deck of cards as fast as
Holy.
possible.
A 52? There's 52 cards in
Yes.
a deck, right? Yeah, that's horrible.
Correct. So they will be in a random order. You need to memorize the deck in whatever amount of time you think you can grant yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you think you're
so
done,
you can memorize for as long as you want, but you want to do it quick
right.
because that's pretty like your score or
Right.
whatever.
So like it might take you a half hour, but it takes the good people like less than a minute.
Oh my god! Holy shit!
And they'll take the deck and put it aside, and then they have to take a separate unshuffled deck and put it in order.
No shot. That is crazy. How?
Or
How do you train your brain to like memorize that like well?
so the funny thing is like there was a book that I was reading about it, or technically it was an audiobook. It's the one time I've done an audiobook. But it was basically a guy going and I've only ever done everything once. I listened to one podcast once. I listened to one
Well,
audiobook.
don't say that because
once.
I don't consume the content that I'm making right now. See you guys later.
I'm welcome to the hypocrite channel. I'm your lead hypocrite. So, but yeah, it was like so. The guy was going around interviewing people at the World Memory Championship. Like, so do you have a photographic memory? And then they'd all just be like, no, there's no such thing. Like, so like, how did you get such a great memory?
Holy.
And they're like, I actually don't have a very good memory. I'm an athlete. I practice the techniques a lot, and because of that, like,
Like, what's
I
their
get good at the
do you know what their
techniques.
techniques are, or some of them?
Yes.
Like, is it like sing a song or something? Like invent a
So a
song
lot
or
of them use memory palaces. So what you do is you imagine a place that you know very well. So like your childhood home, for instance.
Okay.
And then you have certain mnemonics for remembering. So like for cards, for instance, you would have like maybe ace. Made you think like you assigned something like whenever I think about aces, I'm gonna think about fire, and like whenever I think of spades, I'm gonna think about swords or something like that.
Okay. So you convert things.
So then Right. So you convert and so with cards, what they actually do is they actually like, group them in 2 or 3, so that they have like a larger set of categories that they're memorizing. So instead of the 13 types of cards and the 4 suits, they instead have like one thing to memorize for each card, or one thing to memorize for each set of 2 cards, or something. So anyway, what you do then is you draw a walk through your, so you imagine walking through your house, for instance, and on the way you place these different objects.
52.
So like, and you
like two pairs.
So
like
you place them in like
pairs of cards, for example. You would place like a pair of cards.
So yeah. But you wouldn't just put the cards. You would sit, because it's hard to memorize, oh, there's a 7 of spades over there. That's not interesting. But if you go, all right, when I walk into my front door, I look to my left, and right like where I would hang up my keys normally, there's a sword, and it's on fire, and it's in the middle of stabbing a guy.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that means that like that's the ace of spades.
Okay.
And then the next thing you see, as you like anything like, the more memorable it is, the better. So if it's like gruesome, or if it's like attractive or something like that, it sticks in your head better. And so when you do this and you go through placing each of these objects throughout your walk through the house, if you do it right, then you don't actually have to memorize all of these things. You just walk through the room again, and then you can tell me everything that you see on the way. So like if you have cemented that flaming sword at the front door of your house for long enough, or for like powerfully enough, then when it's time to tell me what the order of the cards is, you just close your eyes and start walking through the house, and you look to your side and go, oh, there's a flaming sword there. Ace of spades.
That's still like 52 interesting things to remember throughout your house.
Oh, for sure. It's still not trivial.
Yeah.
Right. But
that's
a
little bit easier, I guess.
That I read, right. So the book that I gave, even as someone who can't really picture things, like it gave an example of a shopping list and was like describing how the shopping list was memorized. like if you wanted to memorize this shopping list, how would you do it? And even as someone who can't really picture stuff, they gave him the shopping list of like 6 items or something. That this is an example. And a week after reading it, I could still tell you the whole shopping list just because of the fact that
how do
it had
you
a bunch of
convert it back?
Absurd concepts.
Like if you had all those absurd concepts memorized, how would you convert it back? Would you?
Well, I think as like from the athletic standpoint, as it were, you practice a lot memorizing your conversion, your hash tables.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
You're like, all right,
like
swords or aces, etc., etc. Yeah.
Wow,
but
that's really crazy.
For like a shopping list, you would just be like, oh, if I need to buy corn, I'm going to imagine a big swimming pool filled with corn.
Yeah,
like
that makes sense. Yeah,
and
makes
like
sense, yeah.
and imagining the cobs floating to the top, and like my neighbor's swimming in it, but he's wearing a bikini for some reason, like just something really wacky, and then just you go back and you go, well, I didn't need to buy a bikini. I must have needed to buy a corn. Like,
wow, mind blown. The one reasonable thing is the thing that is the thing. I sound like a fucking insane person.
And so the book was actually really cool because like he was interviewing all of these people and then ended up going to a bar with some of them, I think. And one of the European champions was just like, Americans aren't very good at memory sports. I bet if you trained under me, you could go next year to the memory competitions and win for America. And he's like, what? Do you mean that? You're not just saying that drunkenly? He's like, no, literally, right now, train under me and you can go. He's like, I'm a freelance writer. Wait, I guess that means I have the time if I want to, because he was just like writing an article for a magazine about the competition. And
wait, so he was writing an article.
This
is like a real thing. He was writing an article and then he actually participated.
Yes, he was writing an article about the World Championship, and then then one of the European guys was just like, hey, study under me for the next few months. The American competition's in like 6 months. If you study under me for 3 months, you'll be able to win the competition. And so the rest of the book sort of goes back and forth between like talking about the history of memorizing things and how we've gotten worse at it and how we're not using some techniques at it, how different people try to do it in different ways, things like recording every conversation you have to try to to outsource your memory. So a bunch of different perspectives about memory, but then interlaced with the narrative of him actually training to actually try to become the American champion.
Huh. Do you think that people's like
I won't tell you if he wins or not, but
yeah, that's ruining the lore. You got to tune into whatever
right,
you're
exactly.
talking
But it was
about.
really yeah, it was super interesting to just see him like learning all these techniques though while also talking about it. I very highly recommend it. So.
Yeah. Wait. Wait. Where can I find that actually? If I actually did want to look that up.
I'll advertise it on the podcast. The book's called Moonwalking with Einstein.
Okay.
I believe.
That's crazy. You memorized that.
Which,
dude, do you think that people like, not to cut you off, but do you think that people's like attention spans are like getting diminished and like memorizing is becoming harder for people, and like the internet is just ruining our like ability to cognitively function in kind of like some kind of way? Because I feel like that like myself sometimes. Where I'm like, why can't I focus right now? Why can't I like memorize this thing? Like, and I like beat myself up over it because it's like I just like I know I'm thinking differently compared to how I used to think. Because like we like me and you, we kind of we've like been in the birth of the internet kind of period where like our mindsets changed because we went from like not even having like a cell phone and like being like, Mom, like when I get home, like I have to memorize this route, I guess, but to like, oh, I'm just gonna like Google how to make like a rocket or something. I could if I wanted to and I had the money, like I could just do it.
You don't need to know as many things because you can outsource knowledge.
Yeah. Which is like why like TikTok and like YouTube Shorts and stuff are like popping right now because everyone just wants to consume like as much stuff as possible. And the algorithm is like, I think
there's sort of two different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two different things. You have the attention span, where like I can't necessarily spend a lot of time away from the. I mean, I can, but like if I'm walking away from my computer, I'm usually grabbing my phone so I can continue the conversation. I mean, I'll have withdrawal.
Like sometimes I'll close Twitter and just like be like, okay, that was cool, and open it up again. I'll be like, why did I do that?
Right, exactly. Or worse, I'll have a website. Like I'm not a Twitter person, but I'll use Twitter as an example. I'll have Twitter open. And I'll be like, oh, by the way, I wanted to check Twitter, and I'll open a new tab and load Twitter while I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, it's like nothing new is being accomplished.
Right. I never chose this life. It just sort of chose me.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I was gonna start doing less technology in a way. I know I'm talking about. I'm making myself sound well read by mentioning two books that I've read.
Do you actually
just happen to be relevant?
Do you like read?
No, not very often.
Oh, okay.
I wish I did.
Yeah. Same.
I don't have the attention.
I used to read a lot.
I'm just gonna watch YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I mean I read a lot on the internet.
Yeah.
But
like
it's different than like sitting down
like going to like a library, getting a book, sitting down, like reading that like every time you go to bed or something, and then like just like
I would love to.
Yeah, it's
Discord
like I used to do that a lot. Like I would read like all of Harry Potter or something. I read all of Harry Potter when I was like in like middle school or something, and it was great. I had a great time. I do not remember any of it, but like back then,
read it again.
Yeah, it was like it was a great test of like my ability to like pay attention to when I'm reading. Because sometimes like you like read and you're like, what did I just read? Like a whole like set of pages. You just like tune out. And like now I just don't have any patience for it, which is really weird. I'll sit down and start reading. I'll be like, I'm bored. Like,
right, it's you want that immediate kick that the internet's trained you for.
Exactly, but you just don't get it from reading. But like so it's like about the journey.
I've had it where like I went on a cruise somewhere, and I couldn't like there's no internet on the boat. So like
what do you do?
Like day 2 or 3, I was like, I feel like I'm having withdrawal.
Yeah.
Like
like actually probably were.
Like, I really right, and it's like it's silly, and you're like sitting there going, I feel silly about it, but I actually feel like down.
And also like
because
FOMO.
I'm just
like everyone is continuing on living their lives without you.
I innately have this feeling like I'm missing out, that I really want to log on and check Twitter and check Discord and check whatever, and I can't do it, and that's fine because I should be enjoying myself.
It's like a weird, it's like an anti-vacation.
Right. I check my phone but by like the fourth day, then I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. Actually, I feel free.
Yeah. Once you get past the withdrawal period,
Like,
you're like, oh my god, like
have you ever forgotten to
I don't
bring
have to
your
worry
phone
about
to
it.
work?
Well, no, but like I've had times where like I don't have my phone available because like dies or something, and I'm like, oh my god, like I have to get to a charger like ASAP, dude.
I had a couple times where somehow like I was running late and I just didn't check the right pocket and I just left my phone at home.
That's crazy.
And for the first
I could never.
hour, I'm just like, I'm missing out on the world. What's happening? And then like 2 or 3 hours into it, I'm like, I can just go up and get a cup, like go to the kitchen and get a cup of tea, and like I don't have to think about looking at my phone. This actually feels really good. I kind of really like this. I'm free.
Well, that's why like some people.
And I go back home and play on my phone.
Yeah, so that's like some people on like Discord. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna like go away because I'm just not gonna do technology. And it's like you can't even blame them because it's like you actually kind of have to get rid of everything in order to just be like freed from it for a little bit, like going on like a boat or like forget your phone or something. Because like it's just, I don't know, you have to force yourself to be with like taken away from it. Because it's just like, it's very good at grabbing your attention. That's the whole point. All these apps are designed to grab your attention and keep it.
And that was the book that I was reading right before the pandemic stuff happened, was about digital minimalism, where it was like, we don't think technology is a bad thing. We just think that you probably didn't choose it. It probably just happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
So like, did you ever make a conscious decision? I mean, this is like it was kind of from a boomery perspective in a way. So they talked a lot about Facebook, for instance, when I don't use Facebook.
Yeah.
But like the question would be like, did you choose like, I want to spend 2 hours a day reading Facebook? Right. You probably didn't want to play Farmville.
Yeah.
Like, if you could go back and if someone said, would you like to spend an hour of your day, each day, sending little messages to your friends to get them to send you wheat so that you can plant it on your virtual farm, and you'd go like, no, I want to just go, like, I want to go work on my garden, or I want to, like, do woodworking, or, like, I want to do something physical, not that.
Yeah.
But we never really, like, sat down and made the conscious decisions to do or not do these things. It's just sort of like Facebook happened, or Instagram happened, or what have you. Like, and then you just go, oh, okay, cool, I'll doom scroll. That seems like a thing I can do. And then you're doom scrolling, and then you're like...
And the craziest thing about is like your friends are the ones who are like adding to it, or like people that you like look up to.
Right.
So it's like, it's not really the platform's, I mean, it is its fault, but it's also not. You know, it's people. People are making stuff that you want to consume, and they know it. Like, they consume the same stuff as you, probably. It's just like a big, like, circle of just, it's like a platform of just like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I used to do Facebook a lot. Like, I don't anymore. Like, I quit cold turkey.
Yeah.
Before I was reading this thing. But I literally, like, I didn't have... For Facebook, I didn't have that many friends. Like, I had, like... I say that, I had, like, 170 or something like that.
It's still, like a lot. Like, but, like, in comparison, like, other people have, like, 2,000 or something, and you're like, man, I'm not that popular.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But, like, these were all, like high school friends and that sort of thing. And then, like... But... I was a completionist, where, like, you know me, I did this with Discord too. I would read everything that my friends posted because I felt interested. So each morning I would open Facebook, scroll back to the last message I remembered, and then read everything up to the present.
Yeah, I do that too.
And then in the evening I would do the same thing. And that was about 2 hours of every day, probably. Sheesh. And then at one point I was just like, I don't really care that Mackenzie's daughter got an A on her report card.
Right.
Like, cool.
Right.
Like, I'm glad.
I like
but it doesn't change my life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I opened up Facebook recently, and they've completely, like, redone the website. I bet you don't even know, but they redid the whole website. and it's like meta based, and it's like the format is totally different. Everything looks totally different. It still has those weird like sections with like your likes, and it's like all my likes are just like gross stuff from like elementary school. That's like that I totally should have removed, and it's just like cringe AF. But like I see stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really miss this, and I just closed it. And it's it's like just like my parents posting a photo I've already seen because they sent it to me, and people like liking it and being like, wonderful picture of your family. Cool, I guess it is. 6 likes.
Every once in a while, I have like one friend who uses it still. So like if we hang out, they might take a picture and I'm like, blah blah blah, tagged you in a photo, and then like people will comment on it. I'm like, I kind of want to know what this picture looks like, but not hard enough to log in again.
No.
But basically it was just like talking about that and just like like, do we really want to check Twitter every 10 minutes? Did we choose to do that? Or is it just like we unconsciously just started doing it? So it was basically talking about sitting down and thinking about the technology you expose yourself to every day, and then deciding if you're actually doing that intentionally or you're just doing it because it's something you do and you've always done.
Yeah.
And just like making conscious decisions about your technology choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I read this and I was like, I really kind of agree with that. I do just do a lot of time wasty. Like I don't really need to play this stupid free game on my phone for 45 minutes a day where I'm like shooting a ball at like another ball. Like I don't need to play, it's not Pong, but you know, like I don't need to play this like stupid game that one guy made that has ads every 30 seconds. Like
that's why like games is like a service, and like MMOs and stuff, or like I not that I like avoid them, but it's like I actually did play like a mobile like trading card game with like anime waifus and stuff in like high school, because I got into it. I was like, I kind of want to be the best at this, so I kind of just like logged in every day and I would do the tasks and I would close my phone, and I only do it for maybe like 30 minutes a day, but I became like super OP eventually after like a few years of just like doing that. And I was like, do I care? I like asked myself like, do I really care? Like, why did I do that? And I just have never played an MMO of any kind like that since, just because I know that like, sure, like, you know, I have fun. Like I played like Final Fantasy and stuff, and it's really fun. But it's like at some point it just becomes like a grind, and you're like you get into the routine of it after you've like played the main content.
And it's built that way intentionally.
Yeah, it's intentional, and it grips your interest, and it's very, you know, I'm sure good for the business. But like for me, it's like I think I'm gonna probably consciously quit out.
Right, because at a certain point, it goes from I'm playing this because it's fun to I feel like it's a responsibility.
Yeah, it's a responsibility, yeah. Or like fall
part
behind.
Of my routine.
Falling behind is a big part of it. Where all your friends will be like keep going and get better and better, and then you don't log in for like a week and you haven't done all the stuff, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I don't know what I was doing. I'm sorry. I feel bad. But it's like, you know, it's like play the games because it's fun.
When I was reading about the minimalism stuff, like I was like, that's a really good idea. I should start like cutting some of that stuff out, like really living life and paying attention, because I definitely am just sort of drifting, like just sort of staring at my phone playing I had a golf waifu game for a while I was playing.
Yeah. That's kind of like...
Then I played Mario Kart. The portable Mario Kart game for a while, but then right as I was trying to make those decisions, then it was March 2020, and then suddenly I was like, nope, I need distractions now.
Yeah.
Where it was like I was just gonna cut distractions out of my life, but this is the one time where I need like I need silly phone games because I'm stuck inside.
Yeah, you mean because of like COVID and stuff? It like took me a second. Yeah, no,
exactly.
For sure. And like that's like when VR started to grip my life and stuff, because it was just like nothing else to do. Can't go outside.
Right. So then I ended up just doing. I was doing Twitch all the time. I was doing phone games all the time.
But now it's part of our routine. Like we're still here. You can go outside.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, now that people are allowed to go outside again, I'm going to break up with everyone and I'll never see you again. Bye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Podcast
over. Speaking of which, it is, oh my God, we're 15 minutes over the time when I said we should stop. Holy.
Oops. We can talk a lot.
Yeah, we really got into
2 episodes?
Break it up into 2? I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep it to 1. Like, one like long episode isn't so bad.
I just wonder what people's attention spans are. Comment and like and subscribe and tell us what you think. Is this long too long?
Yeah,
Is
was
this
that-
long,
yeah,
long
yeah.
enough? Would you rather hear us
Episode
talking 15
0.
minute increments?
Did you like it? Was it comfy? Yeah, I was thinking what I'll probably do is I'll probably like edit like a nice like fire like noise and like some crickets in the background or something, like
Yeah.
just like a breeze. So it's like you can just put it on and maybe like fall asleep to it. That's probably would be like the good kind of content.
We never
that we're
really
going
yelled.
for.
We just
Yeah, we never really
chatted.
yelled except for when I, every once in a while yell. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall it was pretty comfy. And I'll normalize the audio. So even when I do yell, it won't be so bad. We have technology, so. But yeah. I guess that's a good stopping point. Wow, we really did just go on a long set of tangents. I don't even know when we
I
started.
actually thought before we started, I thought that we should have like a world with a clock so that we could see
Yeah,
how
like a
long we've been
big
running.
clock in the background or something. Well, for next
Yeah.
time. We're in VR. I was like,
Yeah.
before we started recording, I was like, we're in VR. I don't really want to sit at a table. Like that's like a
Yeah.
limitation of real life because you have to sit in front of microphones and stuff. But the microphone's like in front of our face, so we can sit somewhere cool. Probably sit somewhere different next time. But
Yeah, we spent like 10 minutes world hopping before. Just
Yeah.
like, how
Yeah.
do we find a good place for us to sit and it looks comfy and
Yeah.
it's not a table, but at the same time we don't want to be like floating in
no,
space. Like
yeah,
we want it
there's
to be
like infinite
look
places
like a
to
real
go in VR.
conversation.
So yeah, this is like a kind of a nice spot. So it's kind of difficult to. It's
I'm
like
curious. Well, I'll have to tune in next episode to see if we're sitting here again or if we find somewhere else to film.
Yeah, I wonder what future us are doing. Maybe what if we might not even be recording another podcast episode because everyone hates this one?
Well,
Who
tune in
knows?
next time.
Tune in next time if
Oh,
it
that's
actually
true.
exists. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that if you enjoyed this episode. I always feel weird doing that.
It always just feels so fake, especially after we've had such a real conversation.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey everyone out there, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Also, for
I don't know what that voice is.
every second that we waste saying, "Oh, we're gonna end," everyone's just the viewers just dropping off. I see so many videos where it's like,
Yep.
once your content's over, just cut it off, just end it.